I don't know how I'm going to make this watchable, so we'll just do the best we can. I got this enormous box from Dezm101 on YouTube, and I'm just dying to open it. So I know this looks terrible, but we're just going to do what we can. Oh my gosh. Bro. I got my copy of Halo when I got home from work today for the Cartridge Club. And then I was just busy all day until now. Now everyone's finally asleep. And I'm barely awake enough to keep it all together. Alright, so in order to... I have to... Oh, alright. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Is there a note? Dezm, my boy. Hey CF, big fan of your work. As a longtime subscriber from first catching you on RetroWare years ago, it was years ago, man, to recently getting more turned on to your Tiger Club radio podcast and really digging it. After I heard you talk about the times you tried the game on a Sega Saturn and didn't have any luck, I wanted to give a shot at sending you a console. Is that what's in here? Bro. This one here is a model with the oval buttons and a red light. I cleaned it and tested it and replaced it with a bad battery with a brand new one so you can save the system. I included a fighting game in one of my ghetto homemade repro boxes. You can check it out. It should work. I recommend having a look at getting a Saturn backup unlocker so you can try before you buy some Saturn games before shelling out a ton of dough on them titles. Also included a few games. I wasn't exactly sure what you have and what you don't, so hopefully they're new to your collection. If not, no worries. That one game I wanted to mention is Star Master on the 2600. Star Master, I've got that. Since you've been making an Atari 2600 kick, and the game has a mode called Wing Commander, which makes me think of the pilots on the Wing Commander series, watching Tiger Claw TV in between missions on their assignment on the Tiger Claw. Keep up the awesome work, and I hope you and your fam enjoy some Sega Saturn goodness. Your friend, Dezm101. Dezm, bro. Awesome. Thanks so much. Let's start with what's on top here, man. Nintendo Power. Let's just stick on this for a second. You know, I don't own a Nintendo Power. This is my first Nintendo Power. The first Nintendo Power that I've ever owned. Because we had some growing up, but they belonged to my older brothers. And they would, like, barely let me touch them and stuff. Oh my gosh. I was the youngest of 5 kids, but I had 2 older brothers who were really, like, the masters of the game collection when I was a kid. Hello, old friend. The Sega Saturn. Oval button. This is the 3rd Sega Saturn I've ever owned. The first one died on me after, I can't remember how long it was. I'm going to say a couple weeks. Could have been a month. I played Virtual on Cyber Troopers. And I played Street Fighter Alpha. And I ordered Daytona USA and Solar Striker, and that console died while those 2 games were in the mail. Second console, when it showed up in the mail damaged, and the discs would scrape the bottom of the tray with each rotation. So you would load up a game, and it would play, but it would go scritch, 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 scritch. And then when my son was 2, I came and found him in my games collection with the Saturn open, scratching the disc that sat in the tray as if he was some sort of DJ of destruction. And that was how that console came to its end. We got a gamepad here. Should play the games. What a night, dude. And there is another package. I can see it. Yo, dog. We heard you like bubble mailers. So we put... Oh, look at this. Look at this. Comic Zone. I'll tell you, I've said it many times. This has become my catchphrase in my adulthood. I was a Nintendo boy, but I'm a Sega man. And I remember this game being on display in Toys R Us, playing those display models. There aren't very many games specifically that I remember playing on those for the Sega. But one of them was Comic Zone. I remember playing Comic Zone, and I also remember playing Sonic 3D Blast and getting stuck like almost immediately. So that's cool to own. Thanks, man. What else we got in here? This feels like a DVD case. Come on, come on. Virtua Fighter 2. This was your ghetto homebrew case, huh? It's a beauty. You know what's funny? I had Virtua Fighter 2, but mine it was like similar. Like I didn't have a real case for it. It was just one of those like page slip covers, and then it had some sort of cardboard insert in the back. So this is a big step up from the one that I used to have. So that is awesome. Virtua Fighter series, right? I've got, what is it, Virtua Fighter, every other number up there, except the first one. What is this? Toy Story on the Genesis. I know these aren't showing up very good at all. I got to do something about the lighting. I don't know how I'm going to get control of that situation, but Toy Story on the Genesis. This is I don't think I've ever encountered. I've encountered a lot of in-box games on the Genesis, but always in a clamshell. And I think this is the only one I have now that's an old cardboard box. I think they're a little harder to find. There it is. I never played that. That's awesome. Thank you, man. The fact that it's a Disney license will make it a little bit easier to sell my wife on the idea of showing it to my children. Oh boy. If it isn't Iron Tank on the regular Nintendo, good old SNK. You know, people love SNK for the Neo Geo era, but they had some great Nintendo games. Guerrilla War was an awesome Nintendo game. And Iron Tank, I remember playing. I remember being at an airport with my brothers, and we were waiting for my uncle to get into town. And for whatever reason, my mom got us there like 2 hours early. Like, why on earth? So we had to wait in this airport for 2 hours. I don't know. The flight could have been delayed, but I was a kid, so I don't really remember it. But I do remember they had an arcade, and it was like a little, like, glass area, like a little room, but the walls were made of glass, and it had like 4 arcade machines in it. And I think one of them was Iron Tank, because I remember my older brother telling me about this again later on in life, but I was too young to remember what the game was like. So that is awesome. Thank you very much for that, man. I have a meager NES collection when you compare it to other like YouTubers. So that is very cool. Very cool. I add to it very seldomly. Star Master. Now I have to confess, I do have this already. But what a game. This is one of these games where you put... Let's see if I can do this any better. Hang on. Star Master. So this was a game where using the black and white switch on the Atari, it brought up like a nav menu. So it was able to expand on the inputs that you could do that way. So this is awesome because even though I have it already, number one, this is in better shape than mine. And number two, there's a fellow Cartridge Club member who lives in Maryland He's also an Atari collector. One of these days I want to meet up with him. I'm going to bring all my doubles and just be like, here you go. So even though I have this game, it's going to be passed on to another collector and not to a reseller and not to just sit in my drawer forever either. So thanks for that. And let's see. I believe the remainder is the cables. Let's see. One of the things I love about the Saturn, as well as the Dreamcast, is it uses this very standard non-proprietary AC adapter. And this looks I wanted to say this looks familiar, but I don't think that's the case, because I've got Sega wires hanging around the house, and I remember one time I tried to use my Sega Saturn TV adapter on another system and it not working. And I didn't realize I was using the wrong cable for the wrong system. So I don't know. But this is amazing. This is so cool. This is an enormous gap. Not just an enormous gap in my collection, but this is a system that has defeated me for decades. And now I've got one. So man, thanks so much. Dezm101. Check it out. He's in the description. And it kind of breaks my heart, but now I gotta go to sleep so I can get up in the morning. But alright, man. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one.